You've been recently hanging out on this wonderful phenomenon called the social media. You almost can't have missed Mugler. And this time I'm not talking about the impractically dressed arsenal of celebrities walking seemingly confused in strange directions. What's happening? No, I'm talking about the Mugler for H&M cash grab, collab. You can get these designer-inspired clothes for a seemingly fair price from one of the most notoriously unfair businesses in the world. What's happening? Hello everybody! And welcome back to my channel where we take old clothes and make it fashion. Although I have a storage full of clothes, I didn't have a black turtleneck, so I went out to buy one for you guys. I can show how we can make this Mugler kind of dress, except I'm gonna make a top. If you want to have the dress effect, you can always still wear it with a skirt. Then this one I already had. Well, it's just a black mesh top basically. So it's sort of well prepared, I guess. Remove the plan so that we can have a look at the picture while we are looking in the mirror, so that we can have a good idea of what we are doing. Laptop check. Top check. Oh, this is gonna draw. Yeah, that kind of works. I think honestly the neckline, the cutouts are gonna be the most challenging. But I feel like it's really not gonna work out. Especially on the front, you can just make almost like a straight line. Forget the curve. And then sew a piece of fabric on there later. Let me know in the comments, by the way. Try and buy something from the H&M Mugler collection. What do you think of it? I thought it was honestly all a little bit expensive still. Not trying to buy any fast fashion. I'm just gonna make it all. That's left. It's also left, right? Yeah, so it goes from here. Just from the armhole here. And it goes diagonal. I'm just gonna cut exactly around the collar. Drawing this line on there too. And the back side is gonna be a little bit harder to draw. You might put it on the mannequin. But I guess today I'm just gonna try and pretend my front side is my back side.
And the backwards man, I had to work backwards, man. See, get Dad, what?
So now we have to think in reverse, I guess.
6.5 hours later.
Okay, I'm gonna go down to the armhole here too. You can't really go higher than the armhole, really. That's why I take that as the highest point. When we've roughly drawn the lines on like the neckline and the line where the panels meet, straighten and smoothen them out a bit with a ruler. My top had this kind of crunched elastic in the collar. Kind of a fun detail. Up to the point that, you guessed it, I had to get it out. Can't think attach that well. Kind of a cute idea. Elasticated neck. But let me know if you want a short tutorial on that. Hang on, I just actually buying a top to deconstruct it and make it into another top, to then buy a new top again, to make it into the old top. Someone stop me. Time to cut out the cutout, so make sure to be sure. And otherwise do a fitting to see if it's fitting. What's happening? When we're at it, I'm also drawing the width of the collar on so that I can crop the collar to the right width. Don't forget we're actually still sewing, so we do have to take into account like seam allowance. Kind of cut out the neck seam, but I have to cross it to go into the top. And just taking a quick look in the mirror, you have to pull it a little bit more this way. Basically drag the whole top a little bit more inwards. Because we can. But that also makes that this line is gonna obviously be a little bit moved inwards too. I might just get a little bit more of a cutout here, like this maybe. See, here's a shoulder seam, for example. So likely do not want to cross that. Do this. Let's think what the next step will be. Once the cutout is cutting it, cut the collar open and also the side seam because I want to make it a little tighter. Then I want to close the top of the collar. Good side on good side. It was a little bit, okay, let's be honest, it was very confusing for me. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I had to sew from two sides because this whole top thing was hanging in between. Whilst I was sewing, I had a magical realization. I could just flip the whole top and close the top of the collar in one go. At least theoretically. If you sew straight, unlike certain people in the room. Okay, it was me. Don't tell anyone. I guess I'm just gonna almost basically slice the sleeves off so that we have the body of the shirt to work with. With all the pleating and stuff, we do need some length. So that's why I'm gonna take the longest piece possible. I think only in the waist, sort of on the side, sewn in a zipper. If you've been on my channel before, you know that I absolutely adore sewing in zippers. Normally. This is so stretchy. I mean, I feel like we need a zipper, unfortunately. Trust the process. Make a knot here already. Let's step in here or something. A bit chaotic. You see? Getting already somewhere. Elastic in. Let's see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, I'm gonna cry. Okay? What you want? For the ruching, there's different ways to go about it. Always lead to row. Except for with my elastic, it didn't really go nowhere.
Dude, where's my car?
Ooh, that's the wrong pedal. So I was struggling to sew the elastic. It was not so super stretchy. So to create a pretty pronounced pleating, I was pulling the elastic really hard to stretch it out. Does the sewing machine appreciate that? Well, take a rough guess.
It says no.
Just gonna cut it out. We're gonna use a different method, making two basting stitches next to each other in the seam allowance. We're not gonna tack it down like back and forth because we want to pull later. Basically the same strategy as in the Jacques Mustop tutorial, which we all carefully watched from beginning to end and liked and shared with our friends. Just like this video. Right, guys? Silence. So this way you have a little bit more control over it. I have the feeling that you're not taking me too seriously when I sit here in my rack. Carefully pull it, especially if you have cheap sewing thread because they tend to break. I'd always do it automatically, like stitch back and forth. Don't do that. Don't be stupid like me. This way we can gather.
Day 2.
Yes, I washed my hair. It's still a little bit wet.
We gotta keep on moving, okay?
So I was just thinking to even look at how white this was. I don't think we did. Just a teeny tiny detail that even the most experienced sewer might forget, but it still somehow needs to fit together. So you might want to measure that out before the whole ruching ride. Learning from my mistakes, I'm gonna make sure that my front and back panel match lengths in the side seam. By adjusting the ruching just a tiny tad, and I'll pin them together like a whole lot of pins. Because it's all a little bit slippery slidey. Just to be sure, I'm first gonna sew it down with the sewing machine with a small zigzag stitch. If you don't have a serger, just leave it like that. If you do have a serger, I want to check if you're happy with the result before finishing the seam. We're going to serge it now to make it infinite. Infinite? What's happening? If you're very specific about which length you want it to be, consider pinning or with a basting, zigzag kind of shizzle. Basically see how long it's gonna be. But I'm just gonna sew it together because I wanna get this video up for you guys. You've been missing me. I've been reading your messages. One person, if you're watching, this one is for you, little Duke. There's some alarm bells going off, but this looks actually pretty good to me. If you pull on it, it kind of divides the pleats. Back to the fantastic elastic. Except for we have no choice this time, because it's gonna be our finishing for the neckline. First finish the edges with the serger, otherwise do it with a zigzag. I'm gonna sew it all the way around the edge on the inside. Just gonna take a long piece of elastic and run it under my needle whilst I'm sewing. I think my elastic might be even a little bit on the wide side. I guess that's like half a centimeter. Note that I'm not pulling. No stress, no tension. If it's going like, you know you're pulling too hard. I mean, that looks super amateur now. Oh, wait till you see the end. It's gonna be semi-professional. How do we achieve that? By folding the elastic over one more time. I'm gonna use a little bit more of a small, elegant zigzag stitch. So yeah, I don't think we have to pin or anything with elastic. That gives us a lot of it. And I'm gonna sew from the good side because I want to know what I'm doing. Then we can sew the top and bottom part together, just good side on the good side. These mesh sleeves that I cut off before. Take notes because this one can actually be a good solution for these kind of mesh top finishing for these kind of really thin fabrics. Sewing a nice hem in there, it can be really challenging, especially with a normal household machine. I hack, and you can do this with a long sleeve too, but it's gonna cost a lot. I'm just gonna take the fabric completely double and sew it like that, so we don't have to hem anything. So we're just sewing a really big cuff on basically. Yes, we will lose the transparency this way, but honestly, my underarm is not my most sexy part anyway. Boy, was I happy humans have two arms. Because the first sleeve, I kinda ruined it.
Later.
For this scarf kind of drapey thingy, I'm gonna use the rest piece of the first top. Basically gonna cut kind of abstract triangle. Try to keep as much fabric so that we have a long scarf for that dramatic effect. And I decided to do this one inside out. I'm gonna fold them double and close, keeping the seams on the outside. I felt like it might just look a tad more elegant and flat, although it's not super chic. I fold them again to attach them to the collar. Kinda regretted I didn't attach the scarf earlier so that I could hide the seams inside the collar. We're gonna hide them well in the knot. I'm just sitting down because I've been recording this 3 times with my head apparently off the screen. Crazy rich widow auntie who might not have killed her husband arrived at the family dinner. Anyway, let me know if you liked the video by liking the video. Leave a comment, check out my other Mugler tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Now I understand why it was zoomed in. You know, it's all about the details in fashion.
We're making fashion here, not clothes.
Realistically, I think you would need to pin it down to keep this side down. Maybe a little safety
So
pin.
pay attention. You're learning from the fashion designer.